I sit on my couch, my heart pounding in my chest. I didn't think something like this would happen to me. I, male, 28 years, and have been married for 5 to my wife, female, 28 years. We got married soon after we graduated university. We met each other through mutual friends at some college party. She was smiling at me and I thought she was beautiful. We began talking and found that we shared many classes together. She asked me to save her a seat beside me in the next class and I did. We used to run into each other quite a lot. We used to hang out with our friends and in classes. After a month went like this, I decided it's time that I asked her out on a date. "You want to go out tonight?" I asked her, heart beating in my chest. "Sure, who all are coming?" she asked, clueless. "Just us," I said with a smile. She smiled at me like she has been waiting for this as well. I took her to a fancy restaurant near our campus, and that's how we began dating. We were happy in our relationship. I vowed to myself to work hard to build us a future we both wanted. We soon graduated college and moved in together in a small apartment. Everything was going good. We both used to work on different jobs but still made the time for each other whenever we could. I knew I wanted to spend my life with her, so I proposed her to marry me at the same restaurant we went to on our first date. She was teary-eyed and said yes. We got married quite young, but we thought, why to wait when we are sure about each other? I knew I wanted her and she wanted me. So what could go wrong in our marriage? We navigated through life together. When we had hard days, we would hug each other and hoped that the next day would be better. We celebrated the good days with each other. We came a long way in these 5 years, professionally as well as personally. We were living happily together until all of it came apart. My wife started acting differently around 3 months back. There wasn't any big difference in her behavior, but there were small things. I asked her if something was wrong and she said it was just stress from work.
Hey everyone. Unfortunately, basically everyone who is watching these videos isn't subscribed. It would mean the world to me to quickly get out of the full screen video for 3 seconds and press that subscribe button. It's free and you can unsubscribe anytime. Sorry for bothering and thank you so much if you subscribed.
I believed her and let it go. But the patterns didn't come to an end. She started leaving for work before I could wake up and would be home really late from work. We stopped having meals together. I felt like she was ignoring me for some reason. Every time I asked her, she would give me some reason or the other. We have been together for quite a long time, so I didn't think she had any reason to lie to me. One day when I came home, she was in the kitchen. I could hear her whispering. No, I'll be there," she said. When she saw me coming, she hung up the call. "Who was that?" I asked casually. She told her it was her friend from the office. They were inviting her for dinner that weekend. She used to meet her girlfriends from work at least twice a month. So it seemed plausible that she was talking to any one of them. I didn't pay much attention to it and then went back to the living room. Everything was going normal in our life. My wife was still acting differently around me. Her work was really stressing her out, I thought to myself. She got dressed in a really gorgeous dress that weekend when she was going out with her friends. She never used to put so much effort in dressing to impress others. It was one of those things I noticed in the beginning and it stuck with her throughout our marriage life as well. This was different. I've seen taking hours to get ready when we went out on date nights, but she never did this for a casual night out like she told me she was going that day. I thought, maybe I'm overthinking over nothing and decided to let it go. I kept waiting for her, but she didn't come back home in time. I texted her, but she didn't reply to them either. I got really worried. I called for her, but she didn't pick any of them. I was worried if something bad had happened to her. I was pacing back and forth thinking who to call. I didn't even know which restaurant they went to. Just as I was about to call a friend of hers, she called me back. I asked her where she was. She told me she's with her friend and she'll be home late. She told me not to worry and to sleep and then hung up on me. I couldn't sleep that night because I had no idea where my wife was. I was in bed waiting for her the whole night. I heard her footsteps when the front door opened and she came to the bedroom. "You're up?" she asked me. I told her I couldn't sleep. She told me how the night ran long and they didn't even realize it. She came to bed after getting in her pajamas. "Let's sleep," she said as she snuggled by my side. I gave her a slow smile. But I still couldn't fall asleep. I had a feeling in my gut that my wife was hiding something from me. Why can't I just ask her? I thought in my head. There was a distance between us now. I didn't know what had brought it, but it was there between us. And I didn't know what to do to take it away. Just when I was engrossed in my thoughts, her phone kept getting notifications. They were all text messages. I took her phone to see who has been texting her this early in the morning. The contact wasn't saved on her phone. The text messages sent me in a spiral of confusion. All the texts were weird and didn't make any sense. That person was thanking my wife last night. What did they do last night, and why was this person telling her to meet next weekend as well? The texts were really short and vague. It was impossible for me to figure out if this person is a male or a female. I didn't want to wake up my wife, so I thought of asking her after she woke up. I didn't realize when I fell asleep. When I woke up, I heard noises coming from the kitchen. I went there to find my wife cooking for us. She gave me a smile when she saw me. I didn't know why, but something inside me stopped me from asking her who was texting her. We ate our meal in silence. The next day, when I came to my car after work, I saw a note stuck to the wiper of the car. I looked to see if there was someone who had kept it there, but I didn't see anyone there. I opened the note. It only said, "Stay safe." I didn't know what that meant. There was no name of the person who had written it or kept it there. I made my way home with a confused mind. Why would someone leave a note like that for me? I kept wondering. It cannot be a coincidence that I got a note like this after my wife started acting differently. I could have asked her, but I didn't think she was going to give me an honest answer. I saw a car leaving my house when I reached home. My wife was getting inside the house. I followed her and asked her whose car was that. She told me a friend of hers was visiting. Which friend? I asked curiously. None of her friends I know own that car. Oh, just a colleague, she said distractedly. Office colleague? I followed up. Was all I got. I left her in the living room and went to my home office. I checked the CCTV camera. I saw a tall, dark-haired guy leaving the campus before I came home. So it was a male colleague visiting her, I thought silently. I didn't stop there. I replayed previous week's recordings as well. Realization drawn on me. This guy had visited my home various times in the last 3 months. Sometimes, he came to pick my wife. We never checked CCTV cameras unless there was something we were looking for specifically. My wife probably thought that I wouldn't check it. There was no way I was going to talk to my wife now. She never once told me that a man had been visiting our house when I wasn't at home. It didn't matter if he was a colleague or whatever. I deserved to know this. Now I'm going to find the truth by myself. I replayed the CCTV recordings once again. I noticed their body language. It wasn't like two colleagues who are meeting professionally. They knew each other well. I saw them hugging each other closely before he drove off. Between my wife's strange behavior, that random note, and a stranger hugging my wife like they have known each other since forever, I felt completely frustrated. I needed to find the truth before I lost my mind completely. I started keeping a close eye on my wife's actions. I woke up early so she cannot avoid me in the mornings. It was like she had started becoming a different person altogether. Her dressing sense had completely changed in the last 3 months. Earlier, her priority was to be comfortable in her clothes, but now it was like she had borrowed the closet of a model. I received another note placed on my car. This one said, "Be careful of who you trust." This only made me more confused. I didn't know anyone who would talk like this to me. My friends never pulled pranks like this. It wasn't making any sense. I saw a woman I had never seen before standing some distance to my car. I asked her if she had seen anyone putting this on my car. She shook her head no. I sighed, frustrated. I took a picture of the note like I did with the previous one and threw it in the dustbin. I decided to deal with this later. My topmost priority was to figure out what my wife has been hiding from me. When I went home after work, my wife wasn't there. I saw an envelope with my name and opened it. The contents of the mail took my breath away. My heart started beating fast. My worst nightmare had come true. Inside the envelope were pictures of my wife with that man from CCTV recordings. They were hugging each other, laughing together. There was a picture of him kissing my wife's forehead in a very romantic manner. It was clear, my wife was cheating on me. I could have confronted her that evening itself, but I wanted to catch her in the act. I didn't want to leave any chance so she could feed me some other stupid lie. I hid the envelope in my office drawer. I acted completely unaware in front of her. When one evening she told me that she is going out with her work friends, I nodded my head and went to my home office. I waited for her to leave the home and then took my car and trailed her behind. I needed to see if she's meeting her friends or that guy from the photographs. I saw her car leaving the city lights behind and then taking off-road to a very cottage-type home. What was she doing here so out of the city? Was my first thought. My thoughts got interrupted when I saw the car parked outside the cottage. It was the same car who I saw leaving my house that day. I saw her getting inside the cottage. The same guy from the CCTV recordings opened the door and they hugged each other. I saw her kissing him on cheeks and that was enough. I had run out of patience. They had left the door open and I opened it with a strong force. They got scared and pulled back from each other. My wife was shocked that it was me who opened the door. "What are you doing here?" she asked me. "Shouldn't I be asking you questions?" I replied flatly. "This is what you've been doing behind my back," I continued while pointing to both of them. She made the expression that she didn't understand what I'm saying but then started shaking her head no. "You are free to do what you want. You don't have to go behind my back. I'm out of here and your life as well." I started walking back to door when she ran and stopped me. "No, you cannot walk away from my life. Just give me 1 hour. I'll explain everything to you and then you can decide what to do," she told me with pleading eyes. "You are going to explain to me why you cheated on me?" I asked her, shocked by her words. "Just give me a chance to explain myself please," she continued. She went to the guy and told him that she needs to tell me the truth now. He nodded. I sat there confused, not knowing what was going to happen next. She introduced me to the guy. His name was Jack. He started working in her company a year ago. When she told me his name, I realized that I heard his name in passing. I just didn't know his face. They asked me to sit down. My wife started telling me something when suddenly the door opened. There was a woman standing there. Tears streamed down her face. I had seen her somewhere, I just didn't know where. "You cheated on me," she started screaming at Jack. He was trying to calm her down. He was telling her that he didn't cheat on her. He was talking to her like he was trying to make a child understand his point. I looked at my wife for an explanation. She was watching the woman with sympathy in her eyes. I didn't know what was going on here. The woman was continuously sobbing while Jack was explaining something to her in a soothing voice. He then came to my wife and told her that he's taking that woman to her home. My wife looked hesitant by the idea but then nodded and they left. I took a seat again on the couch and sighed. I was mentally exhausted at this point from all the drama and lies in my life. My wife took a seat beside me. She started talking and all the drama earlier seemed like a child's play when she told me the truth. The woman who entered was Sarah. She was in a long-term relationship with Jack's twin brother. Sadly, he passed away a year ago. Sarah had not been in stable condition since then. She refused to acknowledge that her boyfriend is no more. She had been in a very bad condition after her boyfriend passed away. Her friends took her to a counselor. The counselor suggested that for the time being, his twin brother, Jack, played his role and then detach her from her boyfriend. Jack was hesitant about this but did what they told him to. Their plan backfired and instead, she got more attached to him. She believed him to be her boyfriend. She wasn't recovering, so the counselor told her the truth that Jack wasn't her boyfriend. She did not believe anyone. Her boyfriend suddenly passing away has destroyed her completely. The counselors told him that maybe seeing Jack with another woman would make her realize that he was a different person. He was single and didn't want to date anyone, so he requested my wife to act to be with him. He needed someone he trusted. He was told that he needed to be with someone who was completely different than Sarah. That's why you decided to dress up completely different? I asked her. She nodded in affirmation. It was finally making sense now. I wanted to tell you, but it wasn't my secret to tell, and Jack asked for the time till Sarah finally accepted it. She said to me, I asked her why she started ignoring me. I felt guilty for not telling you the truth. I couldn't face you like that. I'm sorry, she whispered silently. Why didn't you come home that night? She knew which night I was talking about. Sarah felt unconscious and we had to rush her to the hospital. I was at the hospital all night. I told her that I received an envelope full of pictures of her with Jack. We needed to act like we were together so Sarah could finally acknowledge the truth. It was just a show for her. She told me. Who sent me this envelope? I asked. Sarah. She thought that I was cheating on you with her boyfriend. Sarah told Jack today that she has evidence of us cheating and she'll show it to you as well. I then realized that it was Sarah who I saw near my car, and I even asked her if she saw someone. I told my wife that I saw Sarah at work one day. But Sarah doesn't work, she said, also confused as to what she was doing there. I told her about the notes. I showed her a picture of the notes on my phone. My wife recognized Sarah's handwriting. She used to send Jack notes. I remember it, she said. Everything was finally making sense. Sarah was warning me because she felt that my wife is cheating on me with her boyfriend. Why did you kiss him today? I asked, remembering that moment. We thought it was Sarah who was coming. I heard footsteps before you entered, so I figured it was her. That's why we came here. This is Jack's home. He wanted her to see he was a different person with a different home, a different life. She had a habit of following Jack everywhere. That's probably how she took the pictures as well. Finally, the mystery was solved. I couldn't stop feeling bad about Sarah. Losing someone you love can do this to someone. I almost lost my mind when I thought my wife cheated on me. I just wanted to get home after that with my wife after all this drama, so I did exactly that. I went home with my wife beside me.